True freedom is not found in the approval of others. It is not granted by the applause of a crowd or the admiration of society. True freedom is earned through the release of dependency on public opinion. The moment you allow others to define your worth, you give away the key to your own life. You surrender your strength to the hands of people whose opinions are fleeting, inconsistent, and often uninformed. To be truly free, you must detach your value from the judgments and praise of others. Your worth is not determined by how many people admire you, how many followers you have, or how much recognition you receive. Your worth is intrinsic. It is something that cannot be given to you by others, and it cannot be taken away by them either. When you live for the approval of others, you are living in chains. You become a puppet controlled by the shifting standards of society. One day you are praised, and the next day you are criticized. One day you are celebrated, and the next you are forgotten. If your sense of self-worth is tied to this unstable cycle, you will always feel insecure and anxious. The fear of losing approval will haunt you. You will hesitate to speak your truth, to stand by your values, to take risks, and to follow your heart, because you are too busy calculating how your actions will be perceived. But freedom begins when you stop caring about the noise of public opinion. It begins when you decide that your value is not up for debate. It's easy to seek validation. It feels good to be admired, to be praised, to be acknowledged. But the moment you start craving that validation, you become a prisoner to it. You start adjusting your actions and your words to maintain that approval. You compromise your authenticity for acceptance. You sacrifice your peace for recognition. The pursuit of external validation becomes a never-ending chase, because no matter how much you receive, it will never be enough. The applause will fade, the admiration will shift, the opinions will change. And when that happens, if your sense of worth is attached to those things, you will feel like you've lost yourself. That is why true freedom requires you to step away from the need to be liked. It demands that you stand firm in who you are, even when the world disagrees. True freedom is knowing that your worth is not dependent on the approval or acceptance of others. It is understanding that your value is not tied to how many people agree with you, praise you, or admire you. Your worth is rooted in your character, your integrity, and your principles. It is not something that can be granted by others, and it is not something that can be taken away by them. When you detach from the need for public approval, you reclaim your power. You stop bending your life to fit into the mold of others' expectations. You start living according to your own truth, your own values, and your own sense of purpose. Consider how much of your energy is wasted worrying about what other people think. How many times have you held back from speaking your mind because you were afraid of how others would react? How often have you chosen to stay silent instead of defending what you knew was right because you feared the judgment that might follow? How many decisions have you made, not because they were aligned with your values, but because they were aligned with what you thought others wanted to see? This is the weight of public opinion. It shapes your life in subtle but powerful ways. It makes you second-guess yourself. It makes you hesitate when you should act. It makes you doubt yourself, even when you know you're right. But the truth is, you cannot live a fulfilling life if you are constantly adjusting yourself to meet the expectations of others. True freedom means speaking your truth, even when it's unpopular. It means standing by your values, even when it costs you approval. It means acting according to your conscience, not the crowd's demands. It means understanding that not everyone will agree with you, and that's okay. Your value does not decrease because someone else fails to see it. Your integrity does not diminish because others misunderstand you. Strength comes from standing firm in your truth, even when you stand alone. The world is filled with noise. Opinions are thrown at you from every direction. Social media, news, conversations, and passing comments. Everyone has an opinion about what you should be doing, how you should live, and what success should look like. If you try to keep up with these changing expectations, you will lose yourself. You will become exhausted and disoriented because the goalposts will always shift. What is celebrated today will be criticized tomorrow. What is admired in one circle will be rejected in another. The only way to stay grounded in a world of shifting opinions is to stop depending on them altogether. To find strength within yourself, to decide that your worth is not negotiable. When you are free from the need for public approval, you become fearless. You stop second-guessing your decisions because you are no longer worried about how others will perceive them. You stop holding back your ideas because you are no longer afraid of criticism. You start living with authenticity because you are no longer trying to fit into the expectations of others. This is where true confidence is born, not from external validation, but from internal certainty. Some of the most remarkable acts of courage throughout history were carried out by those who refused to be shaped by public opinion. They stood by their truth even when the world opposed them. They spoke out even when they were condemned. They lived according to their values, not according to the expectations of others. This is the essence of true freedom. It is not gained through recognition, praise, or acceptance. It is gained through self-mastery, through the understanding that your worth is not defined by others, through the unwavering belief that you are enough, even when no one else sees it. There will be times when people misunderstand you. There will be times when you are criticized, rejected, and even ridiculed. But true strength is found in standing firm through these moments. Your value does not decrease because others fail to see it. Your integrity is not compromised because others question it. True freedom is the ability to walk through life without the need for constant approval. It is the courage to stand alone, if necessary, and to remain unshaken in your truth. Let go of the need to please everyone. Let go of the belief that your worth is tied to how many people agree with you or praise you. You are not here to fit into the mold of others' expectations. You are here to live with purpose, with authenticity, and with strength. True freedom is the moment you decide that your value is not up for negotiation. It is the moment you stop seeking validation and start living according to your truth. When you stop depending on others to validate your worth, you become unstoppable. You stop shrinking yourself to fit in. You stop holding back your voice to avoid criticism. You stop doubting yourself because someone else disagrees with you. You start living with conviction, with clarity, and with strength. You start choosing actions that align with your values, even when they are unpopular. This is what it means to be truly free. To know that your worth is not defined by others, and to live with the unshakable confidence that you are enough as you are. There is no greater freedom than the release from public opinion, no greater strength than the ability to stand by your truth without the need for approval, no greater peace than the understanding that your value is not dependent on others' recognition. This is true freedom, to know who you are, to stand by your values, and to live without the need for applause. When you release the weight of public opinion, you rise into the fullness of your strength. You become untouchable, not because others approve of you, but because you approve of yourself. Fame is a fragile illusion. It appears powerful on the surface, something to be admired, pursued, even envied. But beneath the glamour lies emptiness. Fame is not a source of strength. It is a source of dependency. The moment you tie your sense of self-worth to how many people know your name, how many followers you have, or how often you are recognized, you give away control over your life. You hand over the reins of your emotional stability to the opinions of others, opinions that are fickle, shallow, and constantly shifting. To chase fame is to chase a mirage, an illusion that fades the moment you think you've grasped it, and the more you pursue it, the more lost you become. Fame creates the illusion of significance. It tricks you into believing that being known by many people means you matter more. that being admired makes you more valuable, that standing in the spotlight gives your life greater meaning. But that's the trap. Fame is external. It's built on the perceptions of others, not on your own truth. And the problem with anything external is that it can be taken away. If your sense of worth is tied to how many people admire you, then what happens when that admiration fades? What happens when the applause dies down, the spotlight shifts, and the crowd moves on to someone else? If your identity is built on fame, then when it crumbles, you will crumble with it. The dangerous thing about fame is that it creates a cycle of dependency. The more recognition you receive, the more you crave it. The more you are admired, the more you fear losing that admiration. It becomes a drug, something you seek out, something you need to feel whole, and like any addiction, the high wears off quickly. You find yourself constantly needing more attention, more likes, more followers, more praise. And when you don't get it, you feel empty, you feel insecure, you start to doubt yourself, you start to question your value. That's because fame does not create strength, it creates vulnerability. It makes your sense of self fragile because it rests on something you cannot control, the opinions of others. True strength comes from knowing who you are without the need for recognition. But fame conditions you to rely on external validation. It teaches you that your value is tied to how visible you are. It convinces you that you matter only if others see you. And that is the most dangerous lie of all. Because once you believe that your value comes from others' recognition, you become a puppet. You start shaping your life around what others want to see. You start adjusting your words and your actions to maintain the approval of the crowd. You start censoring your truth to avoid criticism. Fame makes you perform, not live. The problem with fame is not just that it's unstable, it's that it distorts your sense of reality. When you become famous, people treat you differently. They tell you what you want to hear. They flatter you, they elevate you, they make you feel larger than life. And if you start believing this illusion, you lose touch with reality. You start to think that you are above criticism, above failure, above consequence. You start to live in a bubble where only admiration exists. And the moment that bubble bursts, you are left exposed and vulnerable. Fame inflates your ego while simultaneously weakening your foundation. It convinces you that you are strong while secretly making you more fragile. What makes fame so dangerous is that it feels good. It feels validating. It feels like proof that you matter. But it's a fleeting feeling. The same people who praise you today will criticize you tomorrow. The same crowd that admires you will abandon you when the next person comes along. Fame is transactional. It's based on what you can provide: entertainment, inspiration, a sense of connection. The moment you stop delivering, the admiration stops. And if your sense of worth is tied to that admiration, you will find yourself constantly chasing the next performance, the next win, the next opportunity to keep the spotlight on you. But it will never be enough. Fame also breeds insecurity because it creates competition. The more famous you become, the more you fear being replaced. You start measuring yourself against others. You start obsessing over your relevance, your visibility, your influence. You live in a state of constant anxiety, wondering if someone younger, more talented, or more charismatic will come along and take your place. Fame creates a scarcity mindset. It makes you believe that your worth is conditional, that you matter only if you remain at the top. And that creates desperation. It creates fear. It creates a constant need to prove yourself over and over again, even after you've already succeeded. But the truth is, you can never win the game of fame, because there is no finish line. There is no point where you will feel like you've arrived. The more famous you become, the more pressure you feel to stay relevant. The higher you climb, the harder the fall becomes. Fame sets you up for failure because it convinces you that your value is conditional, that it depends on how others see you. But real strength, real freedom, comes from knowing that your value is not tied to recognition. It comes from understanding that you matter regardless of whether others see you or not. The irony of fame is that it creates loneliness. When you become famous, people stop seeing you for who you are. They see the image of you. They see the persona you present to the world. They see the curated version of you, and that creates a wall between you and others. People admire you, but they don't really know you. They are drawn to the idea of you, not the reality of you. And that's why so many famous people feel isolated and disconnected, because they are surrounded by admiration but starved for authenticity. Fame gives you attention, but it robs you of connection. It makes you visible but not seen. The moment you start detaching your sense of worth from fame, you reclaim your power. You stop trying to control how others see you. You stop measuring your value by how many people recognize you. You stop performing and start living. You start making decisions based on what feels true to you, not based on what will get the most likes or applause. You stop chasing recognition and start pursuing purpose. You stop trying to be admired and start trying to be at peace. That is where real strength comes from. Not from being known, but from knowing yourself. Fame is a fragile illusion because it rests on the unstable foundation of public opinion. And public opinion is never stable. It shifts with trends, with moods, with changing cultural values. If your sense of self is tied to something that unstable, you will never feel secure. But the moment you detach from the need to be admired, you become untouchable. You stop fearing criticism because you no longer rely on praise. You stop needing approval because you have already approved of yourself. Let go of the idea that being famous will make you whole. Let go of the belief that recognition equals value. Let go of the need to be seen. True strength comes from knowing that you matter even when no one is looking. True freedom comes from standing firm in your truth even when no one else acknowledges it. Fame is an illusion, but your strength is real. Recognition is fleeting, but your integrity is permanent. When you stop needing to be admired, you start living with true power. When you stop seeking to be known, you finally know yourself. Success is not measured by recognition. It's not measured by how many people know your name, how many awards you've won, how many followers you've gained, or how much applause you receive. Success is not about being visible. It's about being aligned. It's about waking up every day and knowing that you are living according to your truth. It's about looking in the mirror and being at peace with the person you see. Success is not about standing in the spotlight. It's about standing in your integrity, even when no one else is watching. The world teaches you that success is measured by external validation. It tells you that you are successful when you have wealth, fame, influence, and admiration. It convinces you that you need to be seen and celebrated to matter. But that's a lie. Success is not about being seen, it's about being whole. It's about knowing that you are enough, even if the world never acknowledges you. It's about knowing that you are valuable, even if no one else recognizes it. True success is not measured by how many people approve of you. It's measured by how aligned you are with your purpose, your values, and your truth. The problem with chasing recognition is that it puts your sense of worth into other people's hands. When you seek validation from others, you give them the power to define you. You let their opinions shape your sense of value. If they approve of you, you feel successful. If they criticize you, you feel like a failure. But that's not real success. That's dependency. That's weakness. True success comes from within. It comes from knowing who you are and standing firm in that truth, regardless of how others see you. The world is obsessed with recognition. It teaches you to measure success through comparison. How many followers do you have? How much money have you made? How many awards have you won? How much influence do you have? But comparison is a trap. The moment you start measuring yourself against others, you lose sight of your own path. You start adjusting your life to meet the standards of others instead of staying true to your own value. You start living to impress others instead of living to fulfill your purpose. Success is not about being better than others. It's about being true to yourself. There are people with wealth and fame who are miserable. There are people with influence who feel empty. There are people who are celebrated by the world but lost within themselves. That's because recognition is not the same as fulfillment. Recognition is fleeting. It comes and goes. One day you are celebrated, the next day you are forgotten. One day you are admired, the next day you are criticized. If your sense of success is tied to recognition, you will always feel unstable. You will always feel anxious, because recognition is fragile. But when your success comes from inner alignment, you are untouchable. When you know that you are living according to your truth, external opinions lose their power over you. Success is not about how high you climb. It's about how true you remain to yourself as you climb. It's not about how much you achieve. It's about the integrity with which you pursue your goals. You can win awards and still feel empty. You can gain recognition and still feel lost. But when you are aligned with your values, when you are living in a way that reflects your truth, you experience a deeper kind of success. A success that cannot be taken away from you. Recognition can disappear overnight, but inner alignment is permanent. External success can fade, but inner strength endures. Chasing recognition makes you dependent on the opinions of others. It makes you fragile because it gives other people the power to define your value. But when your success comes from inner alignment, you take back that power. You stop needing approval. You stop seeking validation. You stop measuring your worth through the eyes of others. Instead, you measure success through your own standards. Are you living according to your values? Are you aligned with your truth? Are you becoming the person you were meant to be? That is real success. The problem with recognition is that it's never enough. No matter how much you achieve, no matter how much you are admired, you will always want more. When you measure success through recognition, you are constantly chasing the next win, the next achievement, the next applause. And even when you get it, it doesn't last. The applause dies down, the admiration fades, the recognition moves on to someone else, and you are left feeling empty, wondering why success doesn't feel the way you thought it would. That's because recognition is not the answer. Recognition is shallow. It touches the surface, but it doesn't reach the soul. True success is deeper than that. It's not about how others see you. It's about how you see yourself. Success is about alignment. It's about waking up each day and knowing that you are living with integrity. It's about knowing that your actions reflect your values. It's about knowing that you are not compromising who you are to gain the approval of others. That kind of success creates peace. It creates strength. It creates stability. Because when your sense of worth is rooted in alignment, you are no longer at the mercy of other people's opinions. You are no longer shaken by criticism. You are no longer driven by the need to impress. You become grounded. You become unshakable. When you chase recognition, you live on unstable ground. Your sense of self rises and falls with the opinions of others. If they praise you, you feel valuable. If they criticize you, you feel worthless. But when you are aligned with your truth, you are steady, you are grounded. You are no longer influenced by the noise of the outside world. You are no longer chasing approval because you already know your value. You are no longer trying to prove yourself because you already know who you are. True success is not about being admired. It's about being authentic. It's not about being celebrated. It's about being aligned. It's not about standing in the spotlight. It's about standing in your truth. Success comes from knowing that you are living in a way that reflects your values, your purpose, and your truth. Success comes from looking in the mirror and knowing that you are proud of the person you have become, not because others admire you, but because you have stayed true to yourself. The irony is that the more you detach from the need for recognition, the more powerful you become. When you stop trying to impress others, you become more authentic. When you stop trying to gain approval, you become more confident. When you stop measuring yourself through the eyes of others, you become free. Success is not about being liked, it's about being at peace with yourself. It's not about how others see you, it's about how you see your success is not external, it's internal. It's not about the awards you win, it's about the integrity with which you live. It's not about how many people admire you, it's about how true you are to your values. Success is not about visibility, it's about authenticity. The most powerful people are not those who are the most recognized. They are those who are the most aligned. The most successful people are not those with the most followers, they are those with the most inner peace. Stop measuring success through recognition. Stop chasing admiration. Stop seeking approval. You are not successful because the world sees you. You are successful because you are standing in your truth. You are successful because you are living according to your values. You are successful because you are aligned. And that kind of success is untouchable. That kind of success cannot be taken from you. That kind of success is real. True success is not measured by how many people know your name, it's measured by how deeply you know yourself.